which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Dorio.
On your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our in-studio guest this morning is Sharon Brubaker, who is a grief recovery specialist. Welcome.
Good morning.
Nice to see you
Welcome.
again.
Thank
And
you.
later in the hour, we will be having Miles McNamara of one of our sponsors, Comfort Keepers, and he's going to be talking about home care and some of the changes that are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, what are we talking about today, Sharon?
Today we're talking about grief and the broken heart, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so amazing. You could go on with this conversation day in and day out. It's absolutely
devastating.
my favorite subject. And just right before the show, we were talking about how much suicide is. We're just hearing it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it's on the rise, or do you think that we're just so heightenedly aware to hearing these stories that it's just hitting us? Because especially with all the famous people that are committing suicide, we just seem like we're hearing so many.
Yeah, I think it's on the rise, and I think the media and the ability to have access to information allows a lot of this to be spread out, so people hear about other people's problems and the result of what they do, and then they look at their own problems and they say, well, you know, this is possibly a way I can handle it as well. Maybe it plants a seed, maybe it doesn't, I don't know, but I think that it is, I believe, more widespread. I think in the past, you know, we didn't know about it as much, maybe, that's true. We're much more aware these days, but I think nowadays it's out there. The financial aspects of what goes on in people's lives, the threats for them becoming homeless, for those who are seniors and don't work anymore, and knowing that their finances are being threatened. And then for some who have lived life with someone they've loved for 30, 40, 50 years, and to be brokenhearted from that, they face dilemmas and consequences and senses and feelings that, you know, they feel that their only outlet is to take their life. And so, you know, we're seeing a lot of seniors who have broken hearts for many different reasons and succumb to it. And yes, I just to answer the question in a longer way. Yes, I think it's increasing.
I agree with you. I think that, one, we're more aware of it. We're open and we're talking about it more, because it used to be a stigma.
Yes,
Where
it did.
people didn't want to mention it because it
They're
reflected
ashamed.
bad on you, right?
Yes.
In some way, like you either was mental illness in your family or the shame of what has just happened to you, and so people didn't talk about it. So I guess in one sense, it's really amazing that we're able to talk about it now, because we can have honest conversations about it. It is a great thing that I think it is in the news and in the media, and people are talking about it, especially when it's happening with celebrities such as Tony Bourdain and Kate Spade, and back to back on those. People are really grabbing on, and they walk a journey, and it's almost like they know these people personally. They allow them in their lives and in their family, and when this happens, it affects so many of us, not just...
Don't you think there's an element of anger involved in someone who is planning to
commit suicide? I absolutely believe there's an element involved.
Absolutely, there is.
Yeah.
It's not of giving up necessarily. It's not of grief. You know, I think when you're grieving, you're angry also.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Sometimes you're angry. Sometimes you're mad.
Yes.
Sometimes you're fed up.
Yes.
And honestly, we don't really know. And sometimes I wonder, like, if I could give them a safe place to talk and just listen, and didn't try to fix them all the time, and just listen, even if ugly came out, would that help? Because we know for a fact that grief is cumulative, and it's cumulatively negative. Let's say something happened way back when in our childhood and it made us angry. well, then everything that happened since then, and we're holding on to that anger, it can fuel the fire of so much pain in our heart. It's unbelievable what can happen. And to be quite honest with you guys, I've actually heard of quite a few seniors here recently that have committed suicide. They've gotten terminal illness diagnosis, or their partners have passed on. So I don't think any age is really immune to it.
No,
And
I would agree. I think it can occur any age.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
as
any
human
age.
beings, we go the full gamut of being sad and being happy, and we thrive on the good emotions that come into our lives. But sometimes it's sad because there are impacts that affect us, and when it does, we have to be able to sort that out. We have to be able to have options of the directions that we can go. And nowadays, with good communication, with people who will listen, that is there. But the purpose of this show, Sharon, is to get you on so that people can find out about what their options are when
Right.
they don't know that they're suffering in their life and their context of things that are going on. They don't know where to go. They
Yeah.
don't know how to handle it. And for you, Sharon, this is what you do. This is how you show people a new direction and put them on a different journey to help themselves out as well. And you get to see this all the time. I think all of us here get to see this all the time, where there are individuals that have been in our lives that have contemplated suicide, and they've found those options, and they've moved in a direction that has helped them continue moving and not take their own life.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that if I had to leave you with one thing that was so important, is that we need to understand that grief equals loss. A lot of times people want to put grief with death or divorce because that's where we commonly use it. But grief equals any loss that has occurred in our heart. Anything, even something simple. And the loss will accumulate. If we're not taking care of it, if we're not completing the pain that's in our heart and looking at that, it will definitely accumulate. And there are 43 known losses or more that we know can cause a grieving experience. And we don't know what those things are for each individual person, especially if they're not sharing it. It's not uncommon for me to be working with a griever and they'll say something like, I just don't want to be here. I'm just tired. And that, when we have a loved one that passes away, we think those thoughts. But those are separate from what we're talking about here. The actual, where they contemplate it and they're thinking about it day in and day out. And they can't find any door to open to walk through. Or they really are planning it. And sometimes it goes on for months and months and months.
Yes, it does. And grief doesn't necessarily involve losing someone. We have a pet who is very, very ill. She's a kitty cat, and Sunday, when I got up, all she was doing was meow, meow, meow. And she never does that. She'll talk to you. But she was meowing, and I said to Russ, something's wrong. So I took her to the vet over here on Lyons Avenue. She has infected pancreas, infected kidneys, and infected liver. And she was in pain. And we've had to leave her there. She's still there. And somebody said to me the other day, what are you doing that for? And I said, what do you mean, what am I doing that for? Putting her in the hospital. That's going to cost you lots and lots of money. I said, what? I said, who cares?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a pet we love
Yeah.
very, very much. And we're going to do whatever we can to get her better. And if it doesn't work, it's in God's hands. You know?
The pet love is pure love both ways, with the owner and the pet. You walk in the
Yes.
house and that little kitty cat looks at you and she just loves you. Or I know sometimes for cats, they're like, okay, I can do without you, and they walk away. But the love is just pure love both ways.
Oh, yes.
it is not uncommon for society. It's really strange that that's the response they'll have. Well, it's just a cat.
It's just a cat.
We have to understand that we don't understand that love between the owner and the pet. And when that pet gets sick or the pet is no longer with us, it is an absolute grieving experience in their heart. It's a brokenness in our heart.
It is, and that's what we're so afraid of.
Yeah.
I mean, she's 15 years old. She's an old cat. You know, why spend all that money? What? Wait a minute. She's a member of our family.
Right.
You know, she greets us when we come in the house. She has a sister. Spice is in the hospital and Ginger is at home.
Right.
And Ginger will come to the end of the hallway if I'm in the kitchen and she'll go, wow, come here, Mother. I need to be petted. That's exactly what she does.
Yeah.
And she'll walk up to me. And then when I make a movement to her, she'll run back down the hall and around the corner. Come on, I want some love.
Oh.
They're incredible. They're just like human beings.
And they're part of your family.
Absolutely.
And no one can understand that. And so if I also can leave you with this, if anyone is having a problem with their pet, we can't put them on the judgment and call them out on it. And I would just say to you, wow, I can't even imagine. This must be really hard to have left her in the hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's very hard.
Someone just sent me an article a couple of days ago, really good friend of mine, of, I don't know if you guys have been seeing this story in the news, the whale, her calf died in birth, and the mom is just swimming around with this deceased calf on her back.
Yes.
They've actually accumulated that, or sharing that, she's absolutely grieving. She's grieving the loss of that calf. She hasn't let it go. And she's swimming kind of shallow and has the calf right there. And so we know that even animals, I don't know if you've ever noticed when you're sick or not feeling well, they'll come near you, or you feel your heart is down. They can sense that. They'll come near you. So yes, it's pure love both ways.
It really is.
Amazing share. Thank you.
It really is. And hopefully she's going to get better.
Right.
But if she doesn't, we understand.
Yeah.
Her age and the number of problems she has, but I feel like she's in good hands, and the veterinarian has said we need to keep her a little longer.
Right.
Because she needs to be eating on a regular basis by herself.
Yeah.
And yesterday they were feeding her with a dropper.
Yeah.
Feeding her the food.
A little bit
And
at a
she's-
time.
Yeah, and she's on intravenous antibiotics. So I'm going to go by today and see if she's okay and if she's ready to come home. But I'd rather her be in care that where they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because if I try to take care of her and I don't do something that I should, I'm going to feel terrible.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that we talk about in grief recovery is that talking about this, just like you're doing right now, sharing your love for her, talking about your little kitty cat, talking about the other kitties, because they're going to miss her. They probably don't know what's going on right now as well.
Ginger doesn't know why she hasn't seen her sister there.
Right.
Because they spat at each other, you
Right.
know, and they can get in each other's way. Really.
Right. And the fear for you of what's going on, how is this going to end up in the next couple of days, and your hope and joy that you get there and she is doing okay.
Hopefully the vet will say, yes, you can take her home.
Yeah.
However, if he says no, I will leave her there to be taken care of.
Right.
Because they can do a better job of it than I can.
Yeah. And we as supporting staff, family, and friends have to understand that having that pet become ill and having the pet die also is an absolute grieving experience in our heart. I hear it so many times.
Oh,
And
yes.
because society is not helping us with this grief of the loss of the pet, we negate it, or we throw it off, or we don't realize it attaches to other areas in our life.
Yes, it does.
Just recently I worked with a woman, and lots of grief, but she shared of her pet, of her bird, and the bird died. And so it's not uncommon for people to have grieving experiences from all different types of pets.
No, and it sometimes has a big big effect on your life.
Sure.
Think of the joy that we use with the pets. We are bringing them into hospitals now. We're bringing them into senior homes to give people the joy and lift their hearts up and give them that energy. Pets are an amazing gift that we've been giving. So
Yes, and it's amazing what an animal will do for a senior who's in a board and care,
yeah,
who sees nothing but other not well people there.
yeah.
And to bring a dog in, it brightens everybody's life.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is.
I
what a
worked
pet
with a
can do.
senior last year, and his wife had passed away, and his children immediately wanted to go out and get him a dog. And I was working with him, and I said, it's your decision, totally your decision. But you can't replace your wife with a dog, and what do you think? And he says, I don't think I'm ready. And we did his grief work, and he absolutely misses his wife, but he called me a few months ago, and he went out and he adopted a dog, and he is as happy as can be.
Wonderful.
And the dog is the joy of his life. He
has a
sent me
compan-
pictures.
Yes, he has a companion now.
Right, but using the dog to replace or try to fix is not the appropriate thing. We
Doesn't
have
work.
to walk our grief steps, and we have to go through our grieving heart before we can add the dog in, or the cat, or the bird, or whatever. But we have to allow that pain in our heart, and we need to work through that to move beyond the pain.
Yes, I think we do. And to move beyond the anger,
Yeah.
because that's a big part
Yes.
of the grieving process.
Yes, ma'am.
It really is. Wow. Time went by too quick, didn't it?
That was amazing.
Wow. But we covered a great deal.
Yes,
you know,
we did.
Sharon. And maybe it'll be a little bit longer next time you
Yeah.
come back to see us.
Yes.
Thank you so
much.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
All right. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508. At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Award-winning Justin Moore performing at the Antelope Valley Fairgrounds Wednesday, August 22nd.
You look like I need a drink right now.
Justin Moore. Tickets on sale now at avfair.com.
Tonight I kinda don't care.
A night with Justin Moore, August 22nd. Brought to you by the Palmdale Auto Mall.
In small town, USA.
Get your Justin Moore tickets now at avfair.com.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM-1220, your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. That was a naughty thing for me to do, wasn't it?
Well, if you had said FM 98.1, that would have helped too.
All right, well, there, we've added both of them now. And Miles McNamara of Comfort Keepers, one of our sponsors, is joining us now.
Hi, guys.
And how are you?
Welcome,
well.
Miles.
Yourself?
Long time no see.
I know.
And Sharon has been invited to stay along.
How cool is that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about home care, but I mean, what Sharon does comes, into play with what we do on a daily basis a lot of times. so-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, we talked about senior suicide and senior problems and trying to recognize the recognition of caregivers and friends and family members as to the problems that our seniors are facing and many a time it's not recognized, and they do not feel that they have a place they can go to and be listened to. And that's a sad part of the problems that are going on right now in our community and all over the place.
Well, what we try to do to advise our clients is and we do this constantly, is, well, first of all, home care, even though I've been doing this for over 17 years and the industry is still relatively new when put in comparison to other things like hospice and home health. And a lot of people get home care confused with home health. But with home care, the biggest undersold asset, and as I was saying earlier, we try to recommend to be proactive rather than reactive. Don't wait until that incident that puts your loved one into a hospital. And companionship is the most undersold asset of what we do, because what happens with depression and withdrawal and isolation after they've lost a loved one, and they just spiral and they start thinking about things like suicide, or they just withdraw from society. And so we really tell our adult children, a lot of times, oh, well, we don't need you yet. Well, let's talk about that. You just let's talk about the situation. Is mom or dad withdrawing? Are they depressed? Are they isolated? Are they no longer participating in societal things that they used to enjoy? And so they're just sitting at home in a dark room, withdrawing, becoming depressed, becoming isolated, and it just spirals out of control from there.
How do we, in going to their homes and talking with their seniors, seeing them at the senior center, how do we recognize that, though? I mean, yes, they're sitting in a dark room. Maybe they've done that before. Maybe they haven't, and that is a sign. But there are some subtle signs that people will see and not recognize and say, hey, this could be a problem as well. What do both of you look for? What do all of us look for, when it comes down to just seeing our friends and knowing their life has changed a little bit because of a loss or because of grief? What are we then starting to look for to make sure that they are okay? Because it could occur the next day, but it could be 2 years later. And, we want to be there 2 years later or 5 years later.
Well, I think the biggest thing is how often have you heard the term that people don't know what they don't know? So that's why we're always on the perpetual education trail, both the suicide committee prevention that we belong to and home care, and paying attention and looking for signs. And back in the days, get over it, man up, or whatever the terms were. And
now it's women up too,
or woman up, or whatever it is, but toughen up,
equal opportunity.
But again, people don't know what they don't know. So to educate and talk about the signs and talk about just paying attention. And with home care, we will get the call after a stroke or a slip and fall and a broken hip or whatever the case may be. Don't wait till that incident. Be proactive. Don't be reactive. There's tools that are out there to bring people out of depression, out of isolation, getting them back involved in life. And in a minute I want to talk about a product that we actually incorporate into doing that, because as far as home care, anything that doesn't take a medical license, as you guys know, that's for our listeners, we can do. So we're really sort of the professional adult child, because when we as adult children go to check on our mom or dad and make sure that they're eating healthy, that their personal hygiene's being maintained, that they aren't looking at signs of depression and isolation, are they taking their medications on time, because that's one of the highest ranking reasons seniors go into hospitals above slip and falls, or mismanagement of medications, or malnutrition, or days like today, dehydration, and as you know, Dr. Dorio, then they get a UTI, a urinary tract infection, which have a lot of similar symptoms as dementia, because they get confused and disoriented, and they're like, oh, mom's starting to lose it. No, she has a UTI. Get her to the doctor, get her hydrated,
treat it,
and bring her home, and she'll be right back to playing bridge and whooping your hiney at it. So again, we don't know what we don't know. You have to pay attention. You have to do those check-ins from time to time. Even on comfortkeepers.com, there's a kind of a questionnaire that says, are you ready for home care? And you should kind of peruse that list. And a lot of things may jump out at you and go, holy schmoly, mom answers yes to 8 out of these 10 questions. Maybe we're ignoring some things we shouldn't ignore. And again, a lot of that is companionship and getting them, involved and out and about, because if I had a dime for every time we don't need you yet. I'd be a rich guy, because we always, first of all, they misinterpret again what home care is. They think we're nurses. They think, we do use the term caregiver, which I try to change to personal assistant, because we have proud seniors. They want to be independent. They don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to lose their life and independence. We just enhance that. They're still the boss, and if there's cognitive issues, we try to let them feel that way as we follow the directions of the adult children, but we enhance the life of seniors. We don't take over the life of seniors, and they're now with us allowed to start doing things that maybe they weren't able to do when they were alone, if they're a fall risk or what have you. So it's something that should be explored and thought about on a proactive level. Which segues me into a little toy. It's like we are being taped for a Facebook Live and stuff, right? I've talked about it before, but I just wanted to kind of circle back to it because talking about depression and isolation and the things that affect our seniors when they're either homebound or alone or have lost a spouse or something. This is called the GrandPad, and what everyone thinks it's an iPad, but it's not. This was devised, and Comfort Keepers affiliated with this company a while back. This entire unit was developed with seniors in mind. God rest her soul now, but there was a little lady named Annie who was 104 years old that was instrumental in the design of this. Wow. And basically what it is, and I'll try to be as descriptive as I can for our listeners, but go to our podcast and watch the video later. It sits on a docking station. There's no on and off switch. So once you take it off the docking station or just open the lid, it turns on. And everything is by the touch. And then what it is it's a closed network. There's a family admin, usually an adult child or whoever, with your smartphone, and it's a closed network, so there's no danger of phishing. So as that term that people hack into your system or violating by strangers getting into the network. They have to be approved by the family admin, and then those family admins on this GrandPad. I'll get to that portion in a minute, but they can make one-touch phone calls and video calls, and the face, a lot of times too, just like this, Mom will never use that. Well, how about giving it a shot, and let's see the look on her face when she can sing happy birthday to her grandchild on the other coast, because they can do a video call, and grandma and granddaughter can sit right there and see each other. They can tuck them in at night, or so video calls at a touch, and emails by a touch, which is voice email. So they talk and it records their voice. They hit send, and again, all their contacts come up as they're administered by the family admin, and by one touch they can say Susie or Uncle Tom or whoever, and then it emails them or calls them at a touch of a button. So again, all designed, and as our seniors get older, the moisture in their fingers sometimes dissipate. So if it gets to where the touch screen doesn't react to their touch, there's also a stylus that can come that will,
like a pencil or pen.
Because a lot of times the moisture on our fingers is what makes the touch screens react.
Does every one of your clients get one of these though, Miles?
If they want it, and that's our job, is to make them feel, because again, I also don't want to put it in their home and then it just sits on the shelf like
right.
So it's to get the excitement, and more often than not, it's the adult kids are saying, "Oh, Mom or Dad will never use that."
Yeah, right.
Oh, hush, give it a shot. And if they don't like it,
nothing gained.
and if they don't like it, we'll take it back. But again, look at their face when they're talking to you on a video chat, and you're saying good night, and you can check in.
Great.
And what our caregivers do a lot of times is they will orchestrate that call. So when our caregivers are there, the Comfort Keeper will actually bring up, and call someone and check in with them. And so it's a good opportunity at that point. But even with that aside, there's other features on here like music from their generation. It's got a library of like hundreds and hundreds of songs from their generation. And the company GrandPad, if for whatever reason there isn't a song on there that they want, they call, they download it from their library, and boom, it'll be on their GrandPad. And then it also has games to keep them stimulated. It has solitaire. It has, slots. It has, so many different things that, can keep them, stimulated. And what do seniors like to talk about? The weather. So one touch right there, boom, they hit weather, and it comes up and gives them the local temperature. And then also you can, put in different areas if they want to know what the weather is, on the East Coast or wherever they have loved ones. So everything is by a touch of a button. So again, the GrandPad, it's an amazing tool to enhance the seniors' involvement with family and friends. Sure. So for more information, you can go to comfortkeepers.com/GrandPad. there is a monthly fee, but there's like I don't know how large the discount is, but it is $55 a month. If they don't go through Comfort Keepers, they don't have to be on service to take advantage of this. If they just go to comfortkeepers.com/grandpad, and then that will give them the discounted rate. It's through the Verizon network, which is a really good network, and so the $55 a month is everything included, and including the insurance. So they drop this in the toilet or whatever, they call it GrandPad, and they just send them a new one.
Do they have to have a computer at their home?
Nope. This is all self-standing,
and
in
self-standing, Miles.
And in the rare instance that Verizon doesn't cover that area, it is able with GrandPad's assistant to be connected to a Wi-Fi. I mean, so if Grandma lives up in the hills somewhere and there just is no coverage up there.
Yeah.
However she maintains contact with the world, they can tie this into it. But no, $55 a month includes everything. It's the data package. Everything's included, and like I said, including the insurance. So if it's destroyed, lost, or broken, you just call GrandPad. They send you a new one that's uploaded with everything you had in the old one. But what I'm seeing is with the clients, it's the withdrawal from society that this helps them beat, and it gets them in touch again with family and friends. They have to go through the family administrator who approves anybody to be in their network, so you don't have to be worried about them being spammed with anything or called by somebody who they shouldn't, because it's a complete closed protected network. And like I said, if you just give it a shot and you watch the face of Grandma when she's calling her grandkids or great grandkids, and that they can see each other, it's amazing. It's an amazing tool. So I would encourage anybody to just go to the website, do your own research, call me direct if you have any questions. If you want to see, feel, and touch it, we can bring it out and let you look at it. But we do have a lot of clients that are taking advantage of it, and it's an amazing tool.
So you can call into it? So
Yes.
like this was at my grandma's house, I can call into it. Is every call a video call?
It can be. You can do just an audio, but if it rings and you're doing FaceTime on your phone or a video call, she opens it and she hits answer, and there you are. You're talking to her.
I could almost see you setting that up pre Comfort Keeper care, like starting with this
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then
If you
going
notice, there's
into
a Comfort Keeper button there too.
Oh, yeah.
So if they just want to start with the GrandPad,
Yeah.
and even if they need help, if they just hit Comfort Keepers, boom, it'll call, and it just says call Comfort Keepers, and
Yeah.
it's programmed to call our office if they need assistance, almost like emergency response system.
Well, I'm still in touch with community and reality. How can I get one of those? I wouldn't
Yeah,
mind
and
having
that's
one
Same thing.
myself.
Same
That's a great
yeah.
point.
Well, and that's just it. Who says that we can't have this? But yeah, just go to comfortkeepers.com/grandpad and say, Miles told me about the GrandPad. I'm not on service with him right now, but I want one of your tools. And boom, they'll set you up.
Can I buy one?
No, they are. You only can rent one at this point, so to speak, for lack of a better term.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
So for $55 a month, which is less than usual data plan when you have a cell
Easily.
phone, all the other
Whoa.
benefits and bells and whistles that come with this, it makes it an amazing tool. But yeah, I can hook you up, Barbara. If you want to get one of these, and then you could probably be your own family admin too, and you could control the network and who's programmed into this, and who you can get to with one touch, and who can call you.
Do all Comfort Keepers have this, or just you guys?
No, system-wide.
System-wide.
Yeah, it's an affiliation that we have with GrandPad, so all 700 offices across the land of Comfort Keepers has access to this, and it's been
Yikes.
pretty successful.
It's amazing.
And it's been a great enhancement for our service. But again, like to your point, Barbara, there's a lot of folks who love the tool. They don't need home care yet, but they love the GrandPad.
Well, my mother is 96 years old, and she lives on her own in Los Angeles, and we have Comfort Keepers coming in to see her twice a week, but we don't have a GrandPad for her. So
which office is it? What
I don't
neck
know.
of the woods?
It's LA 90019.
Okay, I'll have to see. But I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna check on this
Yeah,
now
ask them
because
about
I
the
can.
GrandPad.
I know I am gonna do this and adapt it to her home. She cannot hear well, which is her biggest problem. She can see like an eagle, so when she watches Dodger games, she knows when it's a breaking ball or a split finger fastball.
Nice.
So she can't see the spin on it because of the TV.
Well, does she wear hearing aids?
She tried that, but she's got a tremor, so she fails at trying to put the batteries back in. That's where her problem has been. So she doesn't she hates using the hearing aid, which is common amongst our seniors. But having one of these pads would be not only great for her, but for us as her kids, a safety factor for her. So I'm going to look into her Comfort Keepers and find out if they have a grand pad. Yeah. And I'll give you an update on this because I think this is invaluable for all, like Barbara was saying, for all seniors to potentially have access and to be hooked up with something like this, a network.
Yeah,
but,
as our listeners may or may not know, you guys know we're a franchise, so we're all individually owned and operated. So this is accessible to us, and so whatever each individual office chooses to do with it.
Right.
But if you were to call them and just say, hey, I just had Miles on our show, and he talked about the Grand Pad, can I go through you? And they, if they're not physically administering this through their office, they can again send you to comfortkeepers.com/grandpad. But I don't know who that owner is. I could do some research for you.
And
but
it's through Verizon?
Verizon is who provides the network, yes.
Oh, and we're on Verizon.
What I love about it is my mother's in her late 70s, and I can't even tell you how many times she brings me her phone. It's not working. It's not working.
Yes.
That screen is so simple. One touch, nice big button. You took out all the stuff they don't need.
Right.
What do they need? They need to send an email. They need to talk on the phone. They need to have the video and check the weather.
Right. And again, it's
you made it so simple.
There's not even an on-off button. Like I said, as soon as you open the flap, it turns on. You know, and you can leave it on the docking station if you want, or you can pick it up. And it's an amazing tool, you know, and they're always making enhancements and improvements. And it's come a long way just since I've been introduced to it. They have, and what's cool too is they have like contests and tournaments for slots or blackjack or
that's
so
great.
The Grand Pad home office, so to speak.
Oh,
they coordinate tournaments.
I wouldn't
with all
mind
the Grand
doing
Pads.
that.
Yeah. So it's really a great tool, you know, and
I don't need to go to Vegas anymore.
Have taken advantage of it, almost get addicted to it.
Yeah, we have to hook up our seniors because a lot of them don't use computers, you know, let alone even a cell phone or a smartphone.
Right.
So by doing this could help introduce them to it.
And another thing that's really awesome is because we know a lot of times our seniors get scammed online.
Yep.
So, you know, the whole computer and the internet's a dangerous area.
Absolutely.
But this is a closed network of family and friends. Now, one thing about this, you can't surf the internet on it because, again, that would open the door to the dark side.
Yep.
But as far as the tools that you need, being a closed network, there's no danger of that. And the biggest thing we want is communication. You know, audio, email, which is cool. They could do standard email if they want. It's a choice. But then the audio call or the FaceTime call, or I mean, there's just so many different options that they could do, and listen to the music from their generation, and then participate in some of those tournaments that they do. You know, so it's pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
I think it's totally amazing. I'm a grandmother, and my daughter's in Washington State, and I know a lot of times I call her on FaceTime, and I'm not necessarily engaging with my little granddaughter, but just seeing her run around and live her life is so cool. This is amazing. I want to circle back to one other thing that I want to share that I think Comfort Keepers, having an extra pair of eyes to come in, like I might not notice that my mom is depressed or sad or that she's not getting around as well. But I just know that having another set of eyes come in and just say, hey, why don't you put this table here? Why don't you do this? Those things are so valuable that you can't replace that time. And there were things that my dad would tell his assistant that he wouldn't necessarily tell us. He felt very comfortable with that companionship.
Well, I was just going to say that too. The hardest transition in life is when you start having to parent your parents. And I've talked to so many adult kids who have so many letters after their names. You know, they're MBA, MD, PhD, whatever, but they're still daddy's little girl. You know, but so anything she says to him is not going to have the traction that if you or I or an outsider comes in and say, hey, Mr. Smith, have you thought about this? And he say, that's an excellent idea. And you look over at the daughter and she's falling off the chair. I've been saying that for 6 months, Dad. You know, so again, that outside consultant or that outside pair of eyes, you're absolutely right.
It's so valuable, so valuable.
Well, there's something else too. I saw on TV that they have it's a thing like this, a ball, and you set it down and you talk to it, and it brings up the people you're trying to reach.
Right.
I saw that on TV.
Is that Alexa or Google Home or some of these other?
It's a machine.
Yeah, it's
that you put down, but you see the people come on and you see their faces.
Yeah,
And the
Amazon has one
grandmother.
that's called Alexa, and then Google has one that's called the Google Home.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, and I see Eagle Eye over here. I think I better take a break. What do you think, guys? I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
La Esmeralda is home to truly authentic Mexican food. This family-owned restaurant prides itself on its fresh-to-order menu. Even the tortillas are made in-house. If you have a taste for sizzling fajitas, flautas, or menudo, you have to try La Esmeralda's Mexican and seafood restaurant. Dine in or order out for the most authentic Mexican food Santa Clarita has to offer. Their Taco Tuesday, it'll turn you into a regular. La Esmeralda on Bouquet at Haskell.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetic, so which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS, and we're speaking with Miles McNamara of Comfort Keepers in Home Care. And you're talking about some changes coming to home care.
Some very exciting changes. I've sort of had a crystal ball in my own head thinking that this would happen eventually because, as most of you guys are, home care is private pay. Unless you have long-term care insurance, which are, there's some really good and some really stinky policies out there, it's out of pocket.
But when you have Kaiser Insurance...
Well, there's some changes coming down the road that I want to make folks aware of.
Okay, very good. Let our listeners know.
Yeah,
this is great, Miles.
We are in open enrollment coming up, and I'm actually, shameless plug here, as everyone may or may not know, I have my own show, Aging with Power, and my guest next month is going to be Paul Davis, Insurance, who's going to talk to us about open enrollment, what you should look for in the Medicare and the Medicare Advantage plans. But not straight Medicare as yet, but again, my crystal ball tells me this will probably happen. But right now, the CMS, which stands for the Center for Medicare Supervision or something like that. I don't know what that acronym is. Yeah, services. They're actually going to start paying for some home care services through Medicare Advantage plans, i.e. the Kaisers, the Facies, the Health Nets, the scans. So, and all of them aren't mandated to do so. So my advice to our listeners is that it is coming up on open enrollment time, that you should evaluate your coverage of either straight Medicare, or if you assign your benefits to a Medicare Advantage plan like the ones we just mentioned, ask them the questions about what they cover and what they don't cover, because home care is a covered benefit. I've always compared it to the gastro bypass surgery of years ago. Insurance usually didn't pay for that. And so we'd have very obese, diabetic-ridden people down the road that would cost these folks tons of money when they became ill and what have. Exactly.
Yep.
So then the insurance companies took a step back and said, well, let me see. If we pay for this gastric bypass surgery now and they drop 100+ pounds, become more healthy, take away the possibility of diabetes and other morbidity type issues.
Related to it, yes.
And they say, you know what, cost effective wise, let's pay for this surgery. So that's what I think is happening with home care now, because as I mentioned at the top, there's so many things that cause our seniors to go into the hospital, i.e. slip and falls, broken hips, etc., mismanagement of medications, dehydration, malnutrition, you name it. And they're going into the hospital because of these things. And it's becoming a high cost situation for some of these insurance, Medicare and Medicare Advantage. So at least for now, Medicare Advantage plan is saying, well, hey, let's go the route of the gastric bypass surgery, and let's look at paying for some in-home care services. Kaiser's already leading the pack. Kaiser has already started this. We've already have some clients that we service that are being paid for by Kaiser because they're very metrics and data driven, and they've already done this. And people are saying, well, that's not a bad idea. So my advice to the listeners is it's open enrollment. Do your due diligence. Get an expert to help you. Paul Davis Insurance is who I'm going to have on my show next month. If you have any questions on if you want to start that conversation now, drop me a call or an email at miles@comfortkeepers.com or call me, and I'll give that number in a minute. But do your due diligence, especially as the adult children looking to help your parents. If they're straight up Medicare, that might still be their best option. But also check out your Part D, as in dog, because as we know, a lot of times the prescription and the pharmaceutical aspect of your coverage changes. They change the, what do you call it, Doc? The formularies. So one medication that may have been covered this year won't be covered next year with your Part D. So get an expert, ask the questions, do your due diligence, ask them if they cover home care. On a proactive level, what did we talk about earlier? Companionship. Don't wait for that incident, So I'm not going to let you get away with not knowing what you don't know, because I'm letting you know. Is be proactive, have the conversation, talk to your Advantage plans, find out what they cover.
If our listeners need to get a hold of you, Miles, what is that number that you wanted
as I mentioned, email miles@comfortkeepers.com or right here on Santa Clarita at 661-287-4200, 661-287-4200. Or if you're driving and can't write anything down, you can always call the station here at KHTS and or go to one of our podcasts or what have you. But, one of my taglines on my show is preparation is knowledge and knowledge is power. If you have the knowledge, you have the power.
That's right.
And Sharon Brubaker, what is your contact information?
I am SharonBrubaker.com, and I can be reached at 661-212-0720.
Exciting show today. I will tell you the information both of you have given us. We've covered a huge gamut of thoughts and ideas and emotions from our pets to our family to, how to make sure that our seniors are taken care of at home. And, Santa Clarita is leading the way because of you two individuals who are helping out our seniors stay in their homes. So thanks so much for being on the show today.
Our pleasure.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and Comfort Keepers in-home care, Miles McNamara. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.